Years ago, I watched my mother lose her job after a repetitive data entry. She later got carpal tunnel, took time off to recover, and when she returned, she was let go from her job. And that moment really stayed with me and it opened my eyes to how much pain and inefficiency can come from everyday processes and how much opportunity there is when technology is used thoughtfully. That experience eventually led me to build Connex, a platform designed to automate e-commerce and eliminate friction behind the scenes. But as Connex has grown, even the best technology struggles if the story is unclear. Our customers sell complex solutions, integrations, payments, automation, and explaining that in a way that resonates is a marketing challenge, not an operational one. And that's why I'm excited to welcome today's guest. Luke Ryan is a director and AI strategist at Jamloop. He helps businesses, especially in industries like automotive, use AI to strengthen their marketing storytelling. His work focuses on helping companies that clarify the message, personalize communication, and stand out in crowded markets without sounding generic or over automated. Today's conversation is about how AI can help connect customers or partners tell better marketing stories. Stories that build trust, drive engagement, and help buyers quickly understand why a solution matters. So, Luke, to kick us off, tell us about your business and how you got started.
Excellent. Well, Joe, very much appreciate the opportunity to talk with you today and the Connex team. Thank you very much. And I really appreciate the invite to the recent Waltham event, which is where I met a lot of your folks there too. Really enjoyed that panel discussion. So on my end, I've been in the media and marketing space for a little over two decades now. Been on the broadcast side as well as now more recently on the ad tech side. So as my role as a director of connected TV and AI strategies for Jamloop, what we do best is we help connect both agencies as well as direct clients. You mentioned automotive. That's one of our biggest categories of business with the technology to be able to reach their ideal audiences with video marketing messages. So basically, we're connecting to all your favorite streaming services, whether that's ESPN, ABC, NBC, Netflix, Disney Plus, whatever it might be, anything that you're streaming on, whether it's a smart TV or a device, we're able to get your marketing messages out effectively and efficiently and cost, of course, being a part of that as well too. We also can create studio level quality creative, and that's something that we use AI for as well too. So I'm happy to join the discussion and help wherever I can.
You mentioned you work with a lot of automotive companies and streaming services. If an automotive company wanted to advertise on ABC, you would help them get an ad on there, like on their streaming station.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, yes. So a lot of times what you do is you start first with the ideal audience. So in the case of a tier three automotive dealership, which would be primarily who we work with tier two and tier three. Tier two would be the Nissan dealers of New England, for instance, whereas tier three would be a particular Nissan dealership. So both of those are our clients of ours. But in the case of the primary one, which is the dealership or the dealership group, they would be working with us. A lot of times they have their creative already, but they need to work with a technology partner to get it to the ideal audience of auto intenders. So an auto intender is somebody that's shown interest online already, either by searching for a particular make and model or doing some type of queries related to, hey, compare the Jeep Wrangler to a competitor, that kind of thing. So when they're doing those searches, it's leaving cookies, and then those cookies are able to be used in marketing strategy targeting messages. And then basically we're delivering it on a one-to-one basis. So the commercial that Joe would receive would be different from what Luke would receive, even if we're maybe neighbors, for instance, in that scenario, because you might be in market for a roof and I might be in market for an automobile. And therefore, when that commercial break happens, we're the ones that are going to be able to market effectively and get that commercial
So I'm
inserted
on
properly.
I'm on my TV and I'm watching ABC. I'm watching some show. There's some sort of connection between like my ABC watching a television show and the cookies on like my Chrome browser, and that's how it knows to show me ads. Is that?
That would be correct on the streaming side. So when you're saying ABC, there's also the broadcast ABC in a local market. So the broadcast would be one to many. So they have a broadcast tower. I've also worked in that industry for many years as well. They would be running one commercial message to everyone who's watching a particular program on a particular time across a broadcast station. The way streaming works, it's a one-to-one relationship. So basically what you're doing is you're putting first your ideal profile of who you want to reach behaviorally, demographically, and market intention. And then you're creating a campaign for a certain number of impressions, meaning video commercials that you're running to an audience. And then you're trying to build a frequency to have them then act. And then you're measuring that throughout the whole process. So in a way, it's TV, but it's TV and digital combined. It's streaming TV.
Yeah, that sounds like a very profitable business. I assume with the broadcast, it was one to many. It's probably hard to see to get understanding of who's watching, what do they search for, what's their intent. But with streaming, you have that ability. So it sounds like a great system to use. And a lot of companies are experimenting with AI in marketing, but the output can feel generic or watered down. How do you help teams use AI to clarify their message and voice instead of diluting it?
It really comes down to story and strategy. So storytelling is key no matter what. Technology certainly can be a force amplifier for that storytelling, but it's not the be all end all. I mean, we've all, I'm assuming seen a lot of the AI created content that's out there, whether that's on social media or even just on broadcast TV and other channels as well too nowadays. And it's getting almost indistinguishable from reality, which is pretty wild. But in the same way, really the key comes down to human storytelling. So, who is that ideal audience that you want to reach? What is it that they have either as a pain point or something that's exciting in their life that you want to then help become the solution for? And then coming up with the right storytelling medium or mediums plural, and then being able to create really compelling creative. I'm actually at a really cool studio today, which is a partner company of mine, where they're doing a lot of different creative shoots here, for instance. And so that creative storytelling is key. And then from there, what we can do is we can create the strategy of reaching that ideal audience most effectively. So, per your question, how do you make it feel less generic? I think it really comes down to, what is the story you want to tell to begin with, and then using different tools to get you that end result of that right creative. Sometimes AI is involved, sometimes it's not. It really just depends on what you're looking to do storytelling wise.
Now, speaking of storytelling and customer profiles, many companies, including Connex, have multiple ideal customer profiles and long sales cycles. How can AI help teams adapt one story for different personas, such as an auto company or a retailer, and keep that story consistent across the funnel?
That's a great question, and actually one that I probably would be a really good person to talk to about this because I've created some really excellent workflows for AI deep research. So you're probably familiar with tools like ChatGPT deep research, Perplexity AI, Gemini, any of the frontier models that are out there. There's another piece to that where you can actually use a deep research mode. And what that's going to be able to do is when you build out your ideal customer profile, you can then have the AI co-pilot go and do research on your behalf. It may take anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, but with the right prompt in a deep research mode, you can get back a 35-page well-researched document that has all the hyperlinks of exactly what the sources are. And then you can then use that ideal customer profile or the research around your ideal customer profile to then create marketing messages, a drip level, a kind of, sequential marketing as well too. There's a lot of different ways you can pull it in there. And if you have multiple personas, which pretty much most of us do nowadays in terms of the ideal customer profile, you can then customize your marketing messages specifically to those ideal audiences and then even create campaigns that target each one of them individually and then measure them all.
Yeah, it sounds like you can go on a ChatGPT, upload maybe a list of existing customers, which you says is a customer persona, and then have it generate some of the stories that you need. Trust
I
is
would
everything.
Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, no, I was just gonna add one piece to that. What I would probably say with that one is you would probably wanna just, make it a little bit more generic than the actual list of your customers, and I would probably say taking that persona profile and then turning it into exactly which other industries or job titles you wanna then also reach, and building your personas that way, and then being able to go find more like them. You could even upload into a campaign a first-party data list of your customers and then market to other lookalikes for them as well too. So just a couple little pieces that I wanted to just add there that might be helpful too.
Yeah, I've heard about lookalike audiences on Facebook and other systems. Trust is everything when you're marketing software that touches money, data, or critical systems. How can AI assisted storytelling actually build credibility and confidence instead of sounding over automated or too salesy?
Hmm. Let's see. How do you make it so that you're using AI effectively, but not make it AI sounding?
Here's
Is
my
that
first
fair?
tip. At the
Yeah,
bottom of the AI, it says like it asks you questions. I was reading a book and somebody used AI to generate content, and it says they
I
had
had that
like
in there.
the little the hard on to rule, and it's like I can also do these three things. I'm like, well, you clearly use AI, so obviously it was
That was in the book.
automated.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
it was in
Yeah,
the book.
Yeah. No, you see that sometimes in people's emails as well too. So it's a wild west right now. I'd say the best thing to kind of put as a an anchor point is the human AI human sandwich when it comes to working with the tools. So human starts out and we come up with what is the proper vision, goal, challenge, whatever it might be. But the way that I teach others on this, and I also speak on the topic too, is let's pull together exactly what you want to do. What is that end goal? And then really come up with it. And then until you get to the point where you say, "Yep, that's right. That's what I want to accomplish with this particular query, deep research report, whatever it might be." I don't really execute off of that yet. I make sure that the vision's clear, the deliverables are clear, and then from there, then I basically put the AI to work, but it's a lot more targeted in your response. And then I review it all, just like that, gentleman that you mentioned there, or lady, whoever wrote the book there didn't proofread their own work that wasn't even their work. You want to have that human oversight at the end, no matter what, too, because there is the risk of hallucination. There is the risk of sounding robotic or AI speak. So, having that human AI human sandwich, it's going to help put you more in the flow state as a human working with the tools, but it's also going to really help you get quality content that's going to be more human like in its responses to others as well.
Sometimes I can go into chat GBT. It's like, would you like me to make this sound more conversational? I'm like, yeah, make it sound conversational.
Yeah, you can even train it based off of your own writing. So you can actually upload source material that is the way you write, and you say build everything off of that. Even Chat, for instance, has that already in projects, and then you can basically that's a really good unlock too. So that
I
way
have
it
two
sounds
books
in
I
your
wrote.
brand voice. Yeah, you can take
I
that
have two
exactly.
books where I could just put that in as one of the projects and say, AI Joe.
Mhm. Correct. Yeah, you absolutely could, and you could make it so that anything you then take that might be a say a research deep dive or something that you're working with AI to create. Now, let's Joeify it, if you will, Joe AIify it, so you can basically have it be in your own verbiage and vernacular that way.
So partners are a huge part of the Connex ecosystem. And from your perspective, how can AI help brands create more authentic, mutually beneficial partnerships, not just co-marketing, but real alignment?
I use it in a lot of ways for that. I'm actually building out a really interesting event with a lot of different partners. It really comes down to mutually beneficial relationships, kind of like business 101. What are the end goals of your other partners? Do you have overlap competitively? If not, all the better. So that way you can all kind of align on, okay, well, we're going to open up our networks. We're going to open up, making it so that we all understand each other's ideal customer profile. And then let's create either marketing content or events or having some kind of real world warm introductions because nowadays, especially for business development, there's so many more tools that were available right now, but there are also so many more tools that everybody has to keep up that wall. So it really comes down to that human to human warm introduction that I think is really going to cut through it. So I use AI all the time, all day in terms of doing research, organizing my own thoughts, being able to have it be my chief of staff. But when it comes to like my outreach, I'm doing that myself. That's just personally. I just like to do the human touch on that. I do a lot with video as well, personally, myself, for both outreach as well as just recaps and that type of thing, because just like they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. Video will even be a bigger force amplifier for that because you really get to know somebody through video.
I agree. We found that when we reach out to companies one by one, especially a curated list, and you can use AI to help qualify people, we get a better response. So I agree with allowing people to do introductions, especially when it's face to face. And how should companies think about video marketing strategies? And what do you think of what works for smaller, larger companies when it comes to these video marketing strategies?
It's a big topic. I'd say probably start with the end goal in mind. So what is the end goal you're looking for? Is this an awareness campaign? Is this a lead generation campaign? How are you going to measure that campaign? What does success look like? Start with all those things first, and then what is your unique differentiators? What problems are you solving for? There's an acronym that I use regularly when it comes up to kind of business development called TOPS: Target Outcome, Product, Place, and Season. Who is the target audience? What is the outcome you're looking for that audience to have? What product are you selling? What is the place or, basically geographic area? And what's the seasonality? So if you kind of have that acronym knocked out, you can typically create both a really good strategy campaign off of it, but you also can then help dial in your marketing, especially if they're really solid, ideal customer profile. And then, the other part too is work with the experts, work with a really good creative director, work with a really good studio space. If you need help on the AI creative front, I'm certainly a good person to talk to on that side too. So Really just get a team of trusted experts together, and you'll be able to create something really magical.
Yeah, you mentioned you're a trusted expert. I'm sure you can create some, great videos for small or large companies. Finally, for a Connex customer or partner who wants to start using AI in their marketing but feels unsure or overwhelmed, what's the first practical step that you would recommend?
That is the question. I mean, in the sense of we are all riding this radically changing innovation wave. The new tools, the new updates, the pace of change is overwhelming. Like humans are taught to think linearly in terms of how we're wired, but we're living in an exponential world. And unlike any other time in humanity, we really have to adjust at a fast pace, and that can feel extremely overwhelming. I talk to my family about it regularly, clients, and I look at it and I just say, hey, we're adaptable. If we were cavemen back in the day and now we're dancing around with robots and stuff, it's okay. We can get there. So how do you get yourself to a mental place that it's okay to be in a time of uncertainty and know that you're going to be able to use the best tools with a happy, friendly, cool, calm, and collected demeanor and bring those tools into your own workflow to help it be more relaxing for you. That's my goal, at least, is that these are force multipliers. There are so many tools out there that are amazing, but don't feel like you have to know them all. And just if you haven't even stepped in the pool yet, put your foot in. If you've already jumped in the pool, great, learn how to doggy paddle. Wherever you are now, you can at least take some movement. And you can even ask the tools how you can get to the next level as well too. A lot of folks use like say AI as a Google replacement. It's so much more than that. That's maybe level one. Level two to be as a creative partner. Level three could be your chief of staff thought partner. And level four is creating your own custom workflows. That's the way I teach others.
And Luke, I want to thank you for joining us on today's show and showing us how AI can be used to strengthen marketing and storytelling, especially for businesses selling complex solutions. You can connect with Luke on LinkedIn or learn more at jamloop.com. And if you're listening and want cleaner data, simpler integrations, and better visibility, so your marketing team has a stronger story to tell, visit connexecommerce.com. That's exactly what Connex was built to support. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with a marketer or partner who's trying to explain complex products more clearly in 2026. Thanks, Luke.
Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Really appreciate it.